Okay, so we are going to be focusing on the tick the meaning question again today, but we're really going to be focusing on that vocabulary. So today, this type of question will give you a phrase from the text. So it will give you a quote or a phrase from the text. It will then pick one word from that phrase and then ask you to tick a word which means the same. A bit like when we look at the synonyms in our vocabulary in the vocabulary talk at the start of the lesson. So we're going to do one together, and these are the types of questions that you're going to be answering today. So, she looked closer at him, her eyes narrowing. And this sentence here is all in italics, that different type of font as opposed to these words here. And that means it's a direct quote taken from the book. So it's not a trick here. We can then find that quote in the book at a later date. But we need to know what the question is asking us first, because this is a whole phrase at the moment. We need to narrow it down to what word we are thinking about. Now, funnily enough, the question is, what does the word narrowing mean in this sentence? Now, we know we are looking at the word narrowing, and we are looking for a synonym, a word that means the same or similar to the word narrowing. Now, does the word narrowing mean crossing? Does the word narrowing mean opening? Does the word narrowing mean shrinking? Or does the word narrowing mean blinking? Well, before I even look at where this quote is in the text, what I can do is substitute each of my words for this word narrowing to see if they make sense. She looked closer at him, her eyes crossing. Now, when your eyes cross, they go a bit funny. Now, why would her eyes cross when she looked closer at him? I don't think it's that one, but I'm going to keep looking. She looked closer at him, her eyes opening. Oh, maybe it could mean opening, but what does narrowing mean? Does it mean opening? She looked closer at him, her eyes shrinking. Does narrowing mean the same as shrinking? We'll have to find out in a minute. She looked closer at him, her eyes blinking. Does the word narrowing mean blinking? And we can start to think here now. We've put each of these words in the same place as our main word. And we can see 3 of them make sense. And now what we can do is really go to the text. And you can see here that I've also highlighted my key words. So this what, narrowing, and also one. Reminding myself that I'm not going to tick 2, 3, or 4. I'm just going to tick 1. Because if I tick 2, there's a chance that I won't get the mark because I haven't done what the question is asking me. And I can see here that the sentence, she looked closer at him, her eyes narrowing. Now, it's not like the retrieval question. That doesn't tell us the answer straight away. We need to read before and after this sentence to really understand what this word narrowing might mean. So we can start to read here about Lila's eyes were brick hard, they are ferocious. You vile little brat, if you ever do that again, I'll tell Papa when we get home. He'll beat you with his shoe. Max's face fell. He wouldn't. He never hits me. He would if I told him what you did. She looked closer at him, her eyes narrowing. Now, sometimes reading around this sentence would help you. Now, here it hasn't told us what the word narrowing means. But now we need to try and put it into a context that we might understand what it means. And if the word something is becoming narrow, you can look at it like I said to you, narrowing down the different options. So eliminating those ones, making them smaller, making the options smaller. We'd also think about a narrow doorway. If there is a narrow doorway, what does that mean? Does it mean it's opening? Does it mean it's shrinking? If there's a narrow doorway, it means it's quite small. So potentially it's shrinking. We could also think, if my eyes are narrowing, is that going big? Well, no, because that's expanding. And I'm really sorry for whoever actually watched me do that with my eyes then. I'm pretty sure you're probably terrified after that. But if I am opening my eyes, then that's opening them. I'm widening them. So if I'm narrowing my eyes, what am I doing? I am shrinking them. Okay, now it's your turn to have a go if you can find what the word startled means in this sentence. All right, so pause the video, take the following approaches that I did, and then arrive at your correct answer. Pause the video now and have a go, please. Okay, so my sentence, the two vultures on the ground took off, startled. What does the word startled mean in this sentence? Tick 1. Does it mean excited, angered, scared, or disgusted? I can start to think about where this is in my passage, and I can see here that the two vultures on the ground took off, startled is highlighted in yellow here. And I can start to think, well, what words have I got here? Have I got excited? I have got excited, but then looking at my context, would the two vultures be excited? Because if I read before the text and after the text, we know that what's just happened, two vultures were stood around this object in the tree, this animal in the tree. So they'd done something to this animal. These vultures, these vicious, angry, horrible birds had done something to this poor creature in the branch, in the trees. So they can't be excited, because why would they be excited if Lila has just ran forward, kicking at them? Could they be angered? They could be angered, but why would they be angered? Could they be scared? Well, they might be scared. If someone starts running at you, kicking you, would you feel scared? Maybe. So that's one that I might choose. And disgusted. Would the vultures necessarily be disgusted at Lila kicking them? Not really. I want us to think back as well. If you're thinking of the word startled in a different context, you might wake up suddenly startled. Now, how do you feel when you're startled? What am I doing at the moment? I'm looking round. I've just sat up from my bed and I'm looking round. How am I feeling? Am I feeling excited, angered, scared, or disgusted? I am feeling pretty scared. So the two vultures on the ground took off, scared. So they felt scared. Your worksheet today has got, I think, 4 questions where it gives you a statement from the text, and it asks you, specifically zooming in on one word, what does that word mean? Now remember the steps that I took today, thinking of the key words in the text, in the question, looking at how many boxes you need to tick. If it's 1, do you tick 2? No, you just tick 1, don't you? Then have a look in the text. Where can you find this quote? Read around it, put it into context. Then, if you're still not sure, think of, have I used that word before? When have I done that? What does it look like when I said the word startled, meaning you get up out of bed, you jump up, you're quite scared? The other word, I made an action for that as well. Narrowed, those eyes narrowed. When something is narrow, like a narrow doorway, really try and put it into context. So that's your task for today, and I have attached today's text for support. So your plenary is this question here. Now, if we're ever unsure of a definition of a word, how could we use the text with that word to help us? Pause the video and have a think. Okay, well, hopefully you've said that we could definitely read around the word to get a feel for the topic, the subject of the word, how the word's being put into context, what we can do to find what that word means. And also to really think, where have I heard that word before? Because lots of these words you might have heard before, but you just aren't sure of. So we can really read around that key word to make sure we know. So that is your task for today. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you in our lesson tomorrow. Bye, Year 4.